When I was young and living back in the States, there was a kid in the neighborhood who had got sucked into a storm drain. It was a spring with a lot of rainfall, and the flooding in our area was so bad that the park that I used to play in with my friends had essentially turned into a lake. And in the areas in the States where there's a tendency for flooding, there's all of these man-made catchments alongside the road. And when the rainfall is really heavy, those catchments turn almost into rivers, kind of like this one, where the water is moving really fast. But on the other end of the catchment is a really big pipe. I remember being told that that kid was missing. And then a couple days later, that the police had found his body washed up near one of the drains. I think that story created in me this intense fear about deep water and all the things that could pull you under.
You are here.
I have done a splay because just for the camera.
Amazing.
You know, but it also makes it easier for you to.
I like these.
To see what's.
They're great.
I just picked those up yesterday.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And then you got a towel?
I've got this one.
Oh yeah, of course.
Is that not good enough? Do I need a fluffy towel? I mean, it's also kind of.
It's microfiber. That's great.
Okay. I've got earplugs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a busy one. So I'm in a place in my 30s now where my asthma is under control, but I have had asthma attacks in the past, and so I know what it feels like to not be able to breathe. And the sensation of suffocating is horrific. And so between the asthma and hearing about this kid, whenever I would encounter any kind of body of water, I always made sure to stay in the shallows, to never get out of my depth.
But seeing as this is like an introduction, it helps, and I think we can get a little bit of swimming in, but not too much. It's more about just feeling the water, how we're feeling in it, seeing how you react to it.
Yeah, and I think what I probably should do today is go out at least where my feet can't touch.
Oh, moments.
Oh, great. Perfect.
This is why I picked this spot.
It's just a drop off out there then.
It goes slow. It goes slow, and it's probably for about, I don't know, maybe 5 meters.
Okay.
And then it kind of shelves.
Any kid who heard that story would be afraid. I am working on creating a new story about deep water and a new story about fear.
The best thing about something like this, you can just go out a little bit and then come back onto the bit of the shale. Sure. Go back out a little bit and just see how you feel.
Okay.
We've got big high-vis tow float. I've got a big tow buoy with me as well. So yeah.
Okay.
I know where the nearest hospital is.
Perfect.
But in reality, we've got all the stuff we could ever need for everything.
And fear is funny because I think my first impulse is to try to find a way to make myself fearless. The wiser thing to do is to make friends with my fear, because ultimately fear is keeping me safe, and to turn it off would be unwise. So then what do you do with it? There are two things that I want to share that I've found that have really helped me work with my fear. The first strategy is for the mind, which is literally to just learn more about what it is you're doing, learn more about the water, talk to people who have a good understanding of the thing that you're trying to overcome, because it takes some of the weight and the heaviness out of the thing that you're afraid of.
Also looking at wind, we don't really have any wind today. I think it was less than 2 miles an hour.
If you get in the water on a windy day, like, it's going to push you in a different direction. Is that the idea? Or
Yes, but also when you're swimming, if you've got an on, like for instance, if it was blowing into us now, if we go out, it's going to be harder to swim out.
I see.
So it'd probably stick close to shore. But
Sure.
also, it does come into play with lakes, but it does also come in when you're sea swimming because you've also got the tide. So it's just kind of, wind affects a lot of things. Also, when we're getting in over winter, wind can actually take the water temperature down too, or the feel of it.
Sure.
So you know when it's like, oh, it's cold, but it feels like this cold.
Yep.
With wind, that also impacts our change after.
But ultimately, fear lives in your body. And in our Western world, the temptation is to go, okay, what are some mental strategies? What are some things, what can I do for my mental game? But more than working on the mental game, other than just learning about the thing that you're trying to work with, is working on your body's sensations of fear. So it's come up with Becca, and what you're seeing here is me progressively working into the water to a point that's uncomfortable, and then coming back a little bit. What I've heard from Becca, and what I've also heard from a really gifted climbing coach who I've worked with as well, named Sally, I'll post her link in the description, is a really great tactical thing. I think especially when working with in the outdoors and an outdoor sport where there's a lot of unknowns, is you really want to try not to end your session in a fearful state. So what happened here with Becca is I started to get out of my depth. I couldn't feel the ground beneath me, and I became afraid, and I started to panic a little bit. I felt my body tense up. In that moment, I could have immediately exited the water in a fearful state, but instead, Becca had me come back into the shallows a little bit to test my buoy, to figure out how that feels, that I could trust it, and then venture back out again a little bit. In an ideal training session, you're not ending your session in a place of fear. Because like I mentioned, I'm working with the body, and there's only so much I can do to prepare my mind for fear. Ultimately, the sensations of fear are happening. I'm tensing up, my breathing is getting accelerated, my heart rate is beating really fast. So I think that has been a pretty big game changer for me, and something that I'm focusing on in all of my sessions. But the progressively working up into something that's more, that each session I'm working up to something that's a little bit more uncomfortable, a little bit more outside of my comfort zone in a progressive way. That's going to be much more helpful in the long run, as opposed to just, diving off the metaphorical diving board into the deep end.
Yeah. The ideal is hot Ribena. That's what you want.
I think when someone says squash, you think of like a thick, think of like a thick smoothie, like a soup. But it's not.
No.
It's just
it's
hot juice.
Yeah, it's hot juice. Maybe it was my I get told off for calling it squash. Some people call it juice, some people call it squash, and then if you're in the northeast, some people call it diluting.
Just no.
Yeah, exactly.